everyone. Welcome for another Holistic Creative Chat. I'm Haley Carla, and I'm super happy to introduce today's guest, artist Kristina Kitty Oppegard. Yay! And we've been a little giggly over here because we've had some internet issues and all of that, but super happy to be hitting record, to have you listening in, and thank you, Kitty, for agreeing to have this chat with us.
Yes, I'm super excited to be here. Hello.
Yay. So we're going to dive right in. You are an amazing mixed media artist.
Thank you.
Just going to say that. And I know that I know that creative practice has been a really important piece for you on so many levels and for a long time. So the question that I start with for people this year kind of will give us a taste of your idea about creative practice and how it integrates with life. And basically, I want you to just speak to a time or share a story that comes to mind when, or an instance in your life or your creative practice, however you define that, when the connection between creativity and healing were undeniable for you, when it was really a felt experience for you.
Okay. Yes. I think I can reflect back and do that, but I think I'll move into the more conscious awareness of it when I was an adult, and that will be when I took my class with Connie in Big and painting big, and realizing as I was going through the steps of listening to the painting instead of wanting the painting to be something that I wanted it to be, it actually was morphing into something that I needed it to be. Does that make sense? And it was like this medicine. And I remember being at that time, I literally had my computer desk had art all over it, was completely obliterated with art supplies. Nobody could even sit there. My coffee table, same thing. We couldn't even sit at the dining room table. I'm a terrible mother. And my garage, half of my garage was just exploded. That was my studio. I had all these creative spaces because I could not stop. And I didn't know what it was. I just couldn't get enough. I was so thirsty. And I remember painting big and realizing as I put my hand on the canvas, and I still do this. I just was doing this. I think I shared it on Instagram the other day. I was receiving that medicine. I was receiving that healing from listening to the painting and listening to, just the otherworldly messages that were coming through that needed to come through. And I didn't need to decipher them. And I just needed to receive it, whatever it was. And it was happening. It's like we take the vitamins. We don't need to know where it's going and in our bodies. You know what I mean? We don't need to consciously track the vitamin and make it go where it needs to go. It's like our bodies just do. It's miraculous. It's the same thing with the painting process for me. That's what happened. And I remember being conscious of it and just having that real powerful moment of, oh my gosh, this is so magical. This is medicine. This is actual medicine. Yeah.
You put that so well. And I know I can completely relate. I'm also, Connie, Big, all of that was a huge piece on my journey too. Yeah. And I know, like, oh man, you put that so beautifully. And I remember that same sort of sensation. And it was like an awakening, but it was also so much like a remembering.
Yeah.
And that was the piece, right? That's the piece that resonates. And I also love what you said about not needing to even necessarily know. Like you get the feeling. The feeling in itself is more powerful than any explanation you could ever give it, or any direction you could guide it through, or any way you could rationalize it, and even sometimes any meaning you could assign to it, And there's certainly a place for those sorts of things.
Yeah, there is. Absolutely.
But to go, this in itself in and of itself, by itself, is medicine, and medicine plenty and enough and more than enough.
Absolutely. And there are times when you get that message and you're like, oh, I've got it. I've got to move through this. Or, oh, I need to let this go. Or, oh, this is happening in my life, and it's this great, profound moment. And then there's also things where you just go, I don't know what this is. And you let it just what it is. And that there's so much, and it's continual, and it continues to happen in my life. And I forget. I mean, the human experience for me is a constant amnesia.
Yeah.
Fighting amnesia. I'm like, where am I? What am I doing? I'm constantly, oh, I forgot. I can go and be in my art journal and work this out, I'm like,
I forgot to remember.
Yeah. I'm like, I forgot to remember, like, who I am and what I'm doing. Like, I've been doing this for years now, and I like forget that I can work this out with paint. I forget that I don't have to sit in this stupor. I'm total typical artist in that I'm so moody, and my tide can turn at any time. I can wake up all the hills are alive with the sound of music, and in like 30 minutes be like, I'm so moody and so like that, and I forget that I can turn to this medicine that's so powerful. Constant amnesia about it, about what we can do that's just so simple and loving and nurturing.
So let's maybe go there a little bit, because that's an interesting piece I found in my own practice too. And is that piece that we forget, and I don't know if this is how it is for you. So maybe just after I share mine, maybe share a little bit of yours. But like I will, like, I know it's my medicine. I know that I'm going to feel better when I make the time to get into the paint, to get into the pages, to get onto the wall. What if I'm doing big, whatever that might look like at that point, but to get into my practice. And I will, like a kicking, screaming toddler, resist getting there sometimes. Like I just sometimes like want to be miserable. I mean, I know that's not it, but
I know, right? I'm so glad you said that, because I thought it was, well, I know it's not just me, but I was like, why do I torture myself so? Like, did I read somewhere that artists have to be tortured and miserable? Like, probably I did.
Yeah.
I totally know what you mean. And I remember being in high school and having books and books and books of poetry and writing, and being so very miserable in my, my mod, Sure, The Cure, Depeche Mode, dressed in all black, phases. And which I still delve into, which I highly recommend. But
yeah.
I digress. But really thinking that I couldn't possibly write like this if I'm not like tapping into this misery. And so I think that sometimes when we're doing the hunting gathering kind of thing of inspiration, or that kind of what is it that I'm moving towards? Because sometimes you can feel that inertia of I'm moving towards something, and you're like, wait, but I'm kind of comfortable here. So where are you taking me? Hold on a second. We just did a lot of work. Universe, can I just stay here for just a second and just, can I be in this space for a second? Because I literally just came through all this work, and I just want to stay here, just stay in the comfort. And the universe is like, nope, we're moving towards this now. Especially when you're doing this kind of work, this kind of healing, this kind of ancestral healing, this kind of work like this. Sometimes there's not a lot of time to sit and congratulate yourself, like, well done, like, right. No, we're moving on to the next thing, right. And you can do it kicking and screaming, but you're gonna get to it. And did I just go off topic, or did that?
I think that all relates, because because it is a process, and we want there to be starting and ending points, right? But it's more cyclical than that, I find. I mean, definitely there's peaks and valleys and things, but in the process itself, you're going to find those moments of yes, and then a little bit of that. But then you're back into life, you're back into your practice, and then the other stuff is coming up. And it reminds me of something you were saying before too about Just how that stuff kind of rises up, and you're going like, what is this? What is this? But like the beauty in that is that it's not something we don't carry. It's like, it's not something that doesn't need to be addressed. It's something that's there. But I think in the day to day, we tend to, we push them down, we push it aside, we don't make time for it. There's bills to pay, dishes to do, people to take care of, errands to run, all the stuff, new sheets to buy. I don't know, like what,
yeah.
all this stuff. And
Yeah.
so then when we get in the process, and something about the creative process takes us to this place inside ourselves where we're really just meeting ourselves without all those layers of life.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, okay, so there's me, and there's this me processing all of this life, processing all of these relationships, processing just being freaking human, and like navigating that, and all these feelings that come along with that I haven't let myself fully feel yet. So they're going to come up. They're going to come up in the practice.
Yeah.
And that's what I really hear, like in the beauty of what you're saying, is like, okay, so oh wow, I did this thing. I kind of worked through this, and wow, that was amazing. Like I feel like myself again. And then next round, oh my God, I feel like all this stuff coming up again. What is this? But that's where creative process is the metaphor for life.
Yeah, exactly. It is totally. It's the, I always say it's like, I come to that blank page, and I've never had that blank page, like stark white page, scared, which I totally understand that people do. But I've always thought, oh, there's so much possibility in this. I can make a mess. I can totally make a mess, and then I can just go over it if I need to, or all that, all those things. But then there comes this time where it's like, it's so ugly, and you're like, I just want to close it or turn the page and start over. And I mean, the beauty is that you can do it, but it's the metaphor of life. It's like there are some really dark, ugly things, but there's these real moments of just fluidity, of you just going with the flow of these beautiful colors, these beautiful things, that happen. And then in the end, you have something to show for it. And did it look like what you intended? Maybe not. Did it surprise you and look like something totally amazing? Sometimes, yeah. But did you show up? Yes. Did you move through it? Yes. Did you complete it? Yes. Good job, because it's so freaking hard.
And there it is. There's again so much gold in what you were saying there, especially like for mixed media artists, which we both are, and we're both people who love to work in layers. Like that's, to me, that is like the juiciness of that metaphor with life, because you do meet those points in the layering process where it's like, what is going on here? Like, why did I just do that? Like, whoa, I thought I liked that yesterday, but today, like, holy moly, or, I love this so much, it's precious, I can't change it, but I have to make these other things work, so it's so it's the constant like dance with that. And and that's really like where so many of us that are out there going, man, creative practice is powerful stuff. That's what we get, is like, this is about building strength, resiliency with yourself through those cycles of facing those hard things. And what do? Sometimes you turn the page, sometimes you stick with it. And I always say to my students in classes too, and this, and I heard you saying it as well, is like, just stick with it. When you're at that point where you hate it, give it more time. Yeah. Like, this is the point where you really got to stay with it. And that's, I know, like, and I can speak to this about working with people through like literal physical pain and emotional pain as a nurse. And you can speak to this with your very personal experience with grief and stuff, but it's like, you have got to figure out a way to be with that.
Yes, you do.
In order to move through it.
Yep. Sometimes it's easier just to let it completely engulf you. Yeah. Just let it completely engulf you, because it's not going to kill you. It's not, you know what I mean? You will rise to it. You will, because you are just this amazing ball of resilience. You are, and you will rise to the occasion, guaranteed, every time.
Yes.
And in that rising, you're going to crumble and you're going to fall and it's going to be ugly and you're going to have moments of fetal position and not getting out of bed or however it looks, but you're still rising and all that. You're still rising and all that. And there's no apologies. No apologies. Absolutely none. You're still rising in all of it. It's a process.
That's beautiful. You just summed up the medicine you were speaking of so beautifully with that. And I don't think I mentioned it at the beginning, but Kitty is one of our teachers this year for Spectrum 2016. Yay! I know. And your workshop is amazing. And is it called Good Medicine: The Art of Falling Apart? Did I get that right? Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's really all about this stuff that we've very naturally been talking about because we love it.
Falling apart. Yes.
And the medicine within that and what it looks like. And one of the things you do so well, Kitty, as a teacher or a guide is to really help people feel safe with that. It's okay how you feel. You're going to be okay. You're going to rise above this.
Good. Thank you for saying that because that's so important. And that is what I strive to do just professionally, I guess you would call that, artistically, and just in my personal life, with family, with friends, with people I meet. And I've always strived to be that person. And I think if you're that person in someone's life, I mean, God bless you, because we need more people like that people feel safe with. So if I can just be that person for someone, how awesome is that? So thank you for saying that. That is a great compliment.
Awesome. It's very awesome. And to give anybody and everybody the chance to remember, to entertain, to explore that realization that you are greater than you think you are.
Yeah.
Because our thinking mind will do all kinds of bad stuff to us.
It will.
But every one of us. Every one of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels that way, right?
Yeah.
It really does. Takes us on a freight train sometimes. Yeah.
So, Kitty, another thing I love about you, and I also didn't mention this, but Kitty and I have known each other online for a few years. So
I know. We're going to meet someday.
We are. Yes, indeed.
And it's going to be crazy.
So, yay.
In a good way.
That's right. So one of the things I love about you, Kitty, too, is you have this really conscious relationship with following your intuition. Mm. And that's good stuff. And that's how I try to consciously live too and navigate. And I think that's how so many of those who may be listening are trying to learn to tap into and what have you. So I'm wondering if you could offer maybe just a few tips or thoughts that come to mind about somebody who may be struggling with how to discern intuition and follow that piece, whatever comes up around that.
Sure. Okay. Yes. Following your intuition is a constant process and a constant reevaluation of what that is. Because just as we're growing, so is your intuition. So it's not just you wake up in the morning and you decide, I'm going to follow my intuition. It is small steps of following your intuition. Start slowly. As women, I think, and I'm just speaking to as women, I think a lot of times we don't even know what we like, what we want, even down to, what we like to eat, what our favorite color is, but we're so busy nurturing and taking care of others at times that when it comes down to what would you like to eat? Where would you like to go? We are constantly diverting. And well, where would you like to go? Well, what would you like to eat? We don't even know what we want. There's no intuition there. It's always about how do we include others? How do we make other people feel nurtured? And where does that start with us? So without going off on a total tangent, I think it's really important that we start small. Start small with your intuition choices. And really that, I read something, just not too long ago about this, but just start small. Start small with like, what kind of coffee do I like to drink? What kind of creamer do I like? What kind of tea do I like? But more diving into that, more, heart space, heart centered, or more deeper than that. Understand that it's not all rainbows and butterflies, honestly. When I decided to quit my corporate job, that was very secure and safe. That was an intuitive thing. And they let me go for structural reasons, but then they wanted me to stay. And I decided, no, I'm not going to stay. And it was scared the crap out of me. And so to really just kind of coin that phrase, your intuition is going to scare the crap out of you. So if you're wondering what your intuition is and you're not quite sure what it looks like, it's going to kind of scare you a little bit. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So if people are wondering, what is my intuition? What does that even look like? What does that feel like? What is it? Well, it's probably the choice that really scares you and awakens everything inside of you. Those little spidey senses. I hope that answered your question a little bit.
That's a beautiful answer. And
okay.
It rings true with my experience of it as well. And I love that. And I love your example. And I think also in your example, you gave this other golden nugget I just want to repeat for everyone listening and for myself so I remember too. Because this is also rang true for me as well. It's that life will give you hints. Mm-hmm. Life will give you things. Yes. The divine or life or God or energy, life force, whatever we call that creative energy, will go, here's something. So like your example with leaving your corporate job, they for whatever reason, for the structural reasons, life took it away for a minute. Mm-hmm. So you could open your awareness to what that might be like. Mm-hmm. And then you realized what it is intuitively, what it was you needed and what you wanted. Mm-hmm. So like those things that can feel so dire and extreme, or like something's being taken away or something we don't want initially, are often also those like cornerstones of us going, oh, well, actually, this is where like those spidey senses are coming alive inside of me. Yeah. And I feel it also like it is very, it's an embodied feeling for me as well. And it's also one of spaciousness. Yeah. Like it's not always like, it's scary, yes, typically. And sometimes it's exciting too, but that's neither good nor bad, either of those. But there is almost always, even with the fear, a little bit of spaciousness with it. Like,
it's expansiveness, huh?
Yes.
Yeah,
like if you can kind of breathe into it, like you would take a deep breath before you jump off the cliff, that sort of thing. And that would feel really good in that moment. It's that kind of spaciousness.
Mm-hmm. And spaciousness. Yes, you're right. That was beautiful. I like that. Yes, thank you for adding that. I totally agree.
Oh, Kitty, we've come up with some good stuff there. I like that. I love that. Yeah, and the tingly inside. Oh my gosh, that's so true.
Because it does. It awakens everything. It was like, be safe in this, or do what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as things change in my life, and as intuition comes in, I'm changing as a person. So my intuition is, it's shifting. And it's not always easy to tap into, and I've been doing it, but it's not always easy to tap into because things shift in my life and it's easy to fall back into fear, and it's easy to fall back into, oh, but I need security and safety and this and this and that, and I need this and this and that, and bills and life and people talking in your ear about A, B, and C and who they think you should be.
Yes.
And so there's all of those factors too. And I think when you say, I'm living from an intuitive place, people go, no, like you're running in a meadow somewhere. And it's like, no, actually, I'm doing the shopping and paying the bills and doing all the stuff that you're doing too. But it's difficult. It's difficult.
Navigating with a different lens, like
exactly, to tune into that frequency. It's difficult.
Frequency, I like that.
It's worth it though.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Kitty, thank you so much. And we're going to put a link to your website below.
Okay.
Do you have anything that you wanted to share? Anything at all?
I have something coming up, so just stay tuned to my website and someone else to make. But other than that, nothing else to share. Just happy to be here. Can't wait for Spectrum to start.
Me
so,
too.
yay, I'm excited.
Yay. All right. Thank you, Kitty. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.